This is the VOA Special English Education Report. A group called Story Pirates goes into schools and performs shows for children. But these shows are based on stories written by the children themselves. The grown-ups are there to help them become better writers. The Story Pirates are active in more than 200 schools across the United States. Their method is designed to help children learn about the purpose and structure of writing. Actors and teachers, known as teacher artists, help students write stories. The children feel the pride of ownership in their work and may get to see their story performed. About 200 actors and teachers are members of the Story Pirates. It was founded in 2003. The group is based in Los Angeles and also has performers on the East Coast. The basic program is called the Idea Storm. It involves 2 visits to a school. On the first visit, the teachers and actors hold a writing workshop at a student assembly. They help students express their ideas. Benjamin Salka, the group's chief executive officer, says they work with children to open up their imaginations. But that is only part of the process. He says, "We work with them on the actual craft and structure of writing." In other words, Story Pirates is not just a creativity and self-esteem building program. It is a writing program. He says they work with students to rewrite and shape their story to improve it. The goal is a final product that can express the ideas that were in the writer's head. All the children get comments and suggestions on their work. After about a month, the Story Pirates return to the school. This time, they perform the stories that they have chosen and prepared for the stage. They sing, dance, tell jokes, use puppets, whatever they can do to make the experience fun. A more extensive program can be found at the Bronx Charter School for the Arts in New York City. Ann Lido is arts director for the school, where most of the students are Black or Latino, and many come from poor families. Ms. Lido says the work of the actors is an important part of the children's education. She says, as a school that has a focus on the arts, we bring the Story Pirates in to further our students' experience and understanding of academic content. Some educators may wonder how they can measure the effects of a program like this given the current importance of testing in schools. But Ann Lido says it really is a magical moment when the kids see their stories come to life. For VOA Special English, I'm Alex Villarreal.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Education Report. Chinese students have a long history of coming to the United States for education. And this month, American educators expect high schools across America to enroll more Chinese students than ever. 17-year-old Grace Liu is one of about 30,000 Chinese citizens at American high schools. She grew up in Tianjin, a city of 14 million people on China's east coast. This fall, she is starting her 3rd year of high school in the southeastern United States. Grace attends Rabun Gap Nacoochee School in Rabun Gap, a small community in the state of Georgia. She sounds very happy with her surroundings. Anthony Scrow heads the Rabun Gap School. He says the number of Chinese applications or requests to attend the school has risen sharply in the last 15 years. Many of the students are from China's growing middle class. They want a good education and to improve their chances to attend America's most respected universities. Attending schools outside of China also means an escape from the intense competition at schools inside China. Memorization by rote is common there. This method of learning through memory exercises uses up a lot of time. It can keep students from taking part in sports or interest groups. Anthony Scrow says some of Rabun's citizens have expressed displeasure about the young Chinese arrivals. Mr. Scrow says his students see stories about China in newspapers and on television. He says they also will know 5 students from that country. He said this helps the student understand that they need to be aware and interested in what is happening around them. For VOA Learning English, I'm Laurel Bowman.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Education Report in Special English. The shooting of a 14-year-old Pakistani schoolgirl made news around the world last month. The Taliban claimed responsibility for the attack on Malala Yousafzai. She was shot in the head and neck as she left school. The next day, doctors successfully removed a bullet from her neck. She received treatment at the country's top military hospital. Later, she was transported to Britain for more treatment. Malala Yousafzai became famous for speaking out against the Taliban. She is also known for her support of education for women. It is estimated that only about 40% of Pakistani women above 15 years of age can read. Witnesses to the incident say gunmen who came to her school asked for her by name. They opened fire as she was entering a school bus. 2 other students also were wounded. The Taliban says Malala Yousafzai was targeted for what it called her pro-West ideology. It says she denounced the Taliban and called President Obama her hero. After the incident, a spokesman for the group said Taliban leaders decided a few months ago to kill the schoolgirl. They told gunmen to carry out the attack. The girl's uncle, Ahmed Shah Yousafzai, is head of the Swat Valley Peace Council. He told VOA that no one expected that such a fierce attack would be carried out against a 9th grade schoolgirl. The Taliban led a violent campaign for control of the Swat area in 2008 and 2009. The campaign included attacks on schools. The Taliban had banned girls from attending school. But Malala Yousafzai and her friends had disobeyed the ban by attending school. For VOA Learning English, I'm Alex Villarreal.
From VOA Learning English, welcome to Education News in Special English. At American colleges and universities, the number of positions that offer the job security of tenure has been shrinking for years. Tenure is meant to give professors greater freedom to teach, write, or study subjects that might not be popular or politically correct. But critics say tenure can keep schools from dismissing unproductive faculty members or problem employees. Another complaint is that it can restrict the ability to make changes in programs or make the best use of limited budgets. The number of tenured positions at U.S. colleges and universities has been decreasing since the 1970s. John Curtis is the Director of Research and Public Policy at the American Association of University Professors. He says that only about 25% of faculty members have tenure or are in a position that might lead to tenure. The association says that at least 85% of faculty members should have tenure or be able to seek it. He says this will protect independent thought and freedom of speech. But a recent survey found that many colleges and universities plan to employ fewer tenured professors. The study was done by the Gallup organization and the online publication Inside Higher Ed. The survey asked more than 1,000 college and university officials about their hiring plans. The results suggest that tenured positions might continue to decrease. More than 58% of chief academic officers at U.S. public universities agreed that future generations of faculty should not expect tenure. More than 53% of private school officials agreed. For VOA Learning English, I'm Laurel.
I'm Alex Villarreal with the VOA Special English Education Report. Each year, George Mason University in Fairfax, Virginia, presents a jazz concert. Around 1,200 people attended this year's concert in October. Yet when the program first started, the student musicians played to an almost empty theater. Ed Weiner was one of the few people in the audience when the school held the first jazz concert 10 years ago. He says the quality of the performance was outstanding, but I was shocked to see the poor attendance. So he did something about it. He found a way not only to increase attendance, but also to raise money for the community. Ed Weiner is a lawyer. He organized the concerts into a program called Jazz for Justice. The performers include students and employees from the university, along with guest musicians. The concert raises money for the Fairfax Law Foundation. The local group uses some of that money to provide free legal services to people in the community. The foundation also supports programs to help young people learn about the legal system. These include courthouse tours and education about the legal and health effects of drug and alcohol abuse. Foundation officials say the yearly concert brings in about $15,000. $5,000 of that money goes to George Mason University for scholarships for students in the Jazz Studies program. Jim Carroll directs that program. He says Jazz for Justice grew slowly, each year becoming larger and larger. And he says all the credit really goes to Ed Weiner. Mr. Weiner says the idea is to provide a meaningful experience for the young musicians. He says, "We want to keep the focus on the students. This is part of their education, and they really see that their talents can be turned into very good projects and doing good for the entire community." Trombone player Amy Luden agrees. She says, "It's all for a good cause, so I feel glad to be a part of that." Ed Weiner says he hopes Jazz for Justice can be copied in other communities in Virginia and across the country. For VOA Special English, I'm Alex Villarreal. You can comment on this program on our website, voaspecialenglish.com, and you can find us on Facebook and Twitter at VOA Learning English.